It's been known like that since the Vietnam War. Today I want to talk very briefly about the war, Korean War, the Korean War of 1871. Some of you may not have heard about that. Recently the New York Philharmonic went to North Korea and they were warmly welcomed. They played Arirang, a famous old Korean folk song, and tears came to the eyes of men in stage jackets and so forth watching this song. I think this is a good start to open peaceful relations. Another part of it that's good is the U.S. Navy. They rescued a North Korean ship last October when pirates captured it off of the Somali coast, and they gave medical aid to the Korean crew members. This is quite a contrast to 1866, when another ship came up near Pyongyang, when the U.S. came very near to Pyongyang. It was the General Sherman. Now the General Sherman was a trading vessel, a trading ship, but it had been bought by the U.S. Navy. Now the U.S. Navy only had one picture available of this ship, and it didn't show a single gun. And here's one account of what happened. One account from the United States. A U.S. trading ship sailed up to Pyongyang only to be set afire by a mob of local residents and soldiers, resulting in the death of all 24 crewmen on board. Now why would the Koreans in north part of Korea, why would they have done that to this innocent U.S. trading vessel? For some reason never ascertained, the treacherous natives unexpectedly set fire to this vessel on a dark night. Well, you've got to remember that this vessel, although it was a trading vessel, it had a lot of guns on it. In fact, it had some very big guns on it that had 30-pound Perot rifles, they were called. 30 pounds doesn't sound like much, but 30 pounds was the size of the projectile that was fired by these guns. They had a range of 4 miles. In fact, a team of 8 horses had to be used to carry these guns around. They were huge cannons on board the ship. They also had a 9-inch Dahlgren gun weighing 13,500 pounds, and they had 4 24-pound howitzers, each ranging 1,300 pounds each. With all this firepower, they were sailing up the river towards Pyongyang, and they were warned not to come up there. It was not open to trade. They were told to go away. Well, they didn't listen. They went past some rapids, and then when they were ordered to leave, they couldn't get back over the rapids. And then after a few days, they fired on the people that were on the shore. They took a guy captive. They took a hostage. And then they fired these big guns. They killed about 7 people. So it wasn't just an innocent activity by that time, and they kind of got the fate they deserved. But when the U.S. heard about what had happened to their ship, they wanted to send an expedition. They wanted to send an expedition to do something about it, to get even. When Admiral Bell learned of it, he said he wanted to invade with 1,500 to 2,000 U.S. troops. But they thought the French were going to be invading the next spring. They thought they could be part of a joint U.S.-French expedition into Korea. However, the French got cold feet, and they also had to go to take care of some problems they had in Saigon. And so finally, on May 23rd, 1871, the U.S. fleet invaded Korea. And one veteran of the Civil War said he had never seen so much fire, lead, and smoke concentrated in such a small space and time. A lot of shots were fired at the U.S. vessels. They stormed ashore, they captured a fort, but then they met increasing difficulties, and they had to leave the area. They went back onto their ships. They waited for a response. They said, "We're not going to leave until you give us an apology." But the Koreans said they weren't going to apologize. And the Americans waited 11 days. They still didn't didn't get any answer. Finally, they sailed away. And tablets were erected in Korea in celebration after the Americans left. These tablets said, "Foreigners have invaded. If we do not fight them, we must make treaties and sell out our country." And the leader of Korea at that time, he's been accused of being blissfully ignorant. But he said, "The only thing in which we rely is the will of the multitude, standing firm in the face of enemies." He might have been out of sync with the leaders of his time in China and so forth, because China had been bludgeoned into submission, starting with the Opium Wars and leading up to the burning of the Forbidden City, or the burning of the Summer Palace. He was out of sync, but I wonder if he was maybe not behind his time so much, but a little bit ahead of it. So that was the War of 1871.
You did 21?